the dish I'm doing is a venison fillet on a Indian pumpkin puree with a black garlic pate, fondant potatoes with a pine nut biscuit, and I'm going to use a little bit of the Lea Perrins caviar that I made to go with the brandy and Lea Perrins jus. We've been there with chips, right? And they can end up a little bit soggy, but there's nothing nicer than a fondant potato. Do you guys know what a fondant potato is?
You usually cut it into like a thing and then you cook it in liquid, like butter or stock or something like that?
Yeah, so you kind of want a flat bottom to your potato. So let's trim the end off, and do another one there for mashed potato or chips, whatever we want to use it for. And I've got a round cutter here, and there we go, easy. And we've got some rounds. A little olive oil. And what we want to do is we want to get some colour on these babies to start off with. So we've got this oil hot. We'll start getting these guys in here. Glenn, do you want to come and get me a hand? You see we've got these in here, and we've just got some oil at the moment because we don't want to put the butter in there because I don't want any butter to burn just yet. I am going to put some butter in. So we want golden brown on the bottom of those. In the interim, because I want to get these in the oven pretty quickly. Right, and then once you've got a bunch of them, I want you to quickly get them into pretty small pieces, because the smaller they are, about that size, the quicker they're going to cook, because we want to puree. There you go. So with fondant potatoes, you always want to get them a little bit crispy on both sides, but the key is a good stock. You want the potato to soak all that liquid up. You know, that's probably enough. Drizzle some olive oil on here, and we're going to season this later. There we go. I've got the oven set at 200 degrees. It's pretty hot. And if you look here, we're starting to get lovely golden brown colour on the bottom of those. So the next thing we want to do is we want to season these. Flake salt, generous seasoning, pepper as well. There we go. These are ready to turn. What I want to do next, Glenn, is I want to do some carrots. I've got some different coloured carrots here. I've got the white carrots and normal coloured baby carrots. So if you could just split the carrots into two. Okay, just what I want you to do is have, you know, white in one.
Oh, right.
And the other in the other colour.
Right. I wondered if
James, I know what you've got to deal with now. So it doesn't take long for this colour to come through, does it, here? Yeah? Looking good. Now, I'm going to put like 3 tablespoons of butter in there. In goes my thyme. Once the butter stops foaming, that's when I'm going to put my stock in. And I'm not going to cover them 3/4 of the way up into a hot oven, 200 degrees. We want to season these. Remember, anything that grows below the ground goes into cold water. Anything that grows above the ground goes into hot water. So just a little bit of salt in there. What else could we put in there? Why am I going to put some sugar in there? Because I want you, when you to eat it, go, gee, in his garden he grows really sweet carrots. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and just get a little bit of sugar in there. Butter has stopped foaming here. Now just remember, this is very hot and our stock is not super hot. Could start to bubble away there. There we go. That is beef stock. So we'll get those into the oven. I think they'll take a good sort of 35 minutes and we'll check them, but they should be completely soft and moist in the middle when they're finished. They'll be really yummy. Anybody ever made black garlic before? Used a lot in Asia. How do you make black garlic? This is a rice cooker. Just whole garlic, like that. Pop it in here. I've got a little bowl of water. The water is going to sit in here. I'm going to turn this on and I'm going to come back in a week. But during that week, I'm going to check that the water is topped up. In a week's time, I will take the water out and I will leave them there for another week. And I'll do that off and on for 6 weeks. And what will happen is the garlic starts to ferment. And here's one that's been going for 6 weeks. And here we go. And this is black garlic. You see the colour of that? There it is. This is really cool stuff. And I want you all to have a little try, actually. It's almost like a licorice texture. There you go. It's almost molassesy, balsamic, but got a texture of a licorice. So it's really quite interesting, isn't it? I want you to be careful if you do buy it out there or buying it from Asian shops. Before you buy it, ask to taste it, because it's very expensive. You'll pay over $80 a kilo for it. You can make it at home yourself so easily, but if you buy it, ask to taste it, because it can be bitter if they don't do a good job of it.
Up next, Simon gets started on his black garlic pate.
Gellan, 1 gram, 5 grams of agar, 100 grams of cold water. I'm making a black garlic pate, and you see I've got the black garlic here. You can see it's silky smooth. So I've just processed that in a food processor. I want 1 gram of gellan and I want 5 grams of agar. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm making the pate, but I want to be able to serve you a warm pate. That's why I'm using the gellan. So I can heat up to 70 degrees by using the gellan. So the gellan is a gelling agent, and it's going to keep it, hold it its little shape. Gellan, 1 gram, 5 grams of agar, 100 grams of cold water. In it goes straight away into the cold water. Watch this, it will start to gellify pretty much straight away. You see that? Setting straight away. Let's get it on the heat. And what I want to do is I want to bubble it away for 2 minutes. Let's have a look at these guys. You can see, they're not about to fall apart. Perfect.
No, they're all good, yeah.
So what I want to do is now drain the water off and refresh them. And I don't want to leave them in that water too long, otherwise that's going to leach out the salt and the sugar that's in there. So I just want enough to cool them. We're making the pumpkin dip really easy, right? Pumpkin puree, chuck that in there. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to put some of this in, which is cream cheese. So it's just a case of mixing it up, throw some cream cheese in there. Awesome, that looks nice, doesn't it? So let's just get a little sprinkling of this Indian seasoning in there. There we go. Give that a puree up. Here we've got the venison, the strip loin. I'm going to choose about that piece there. It's going to be a nice piece. Pop that back in the fridge, please. I'm making a black garlic pate, and this is just the setting agent. Doesn't need any salt or pepper. That's the thing I love about it. It's just got so much flavour to it. And now we just mix that up into there. Just beautiful black garlic flavour. Here we've got a nice mould. I've just lined it with some Glad wrap. You can see it's almost starting to set already. It's great stuff. So you don't want to hang about now. Just want to get it down. There we go. Fold that over like that. And get that into the fridge. Now, this is quite a delicate job. I just want you to rub the skin off. See, like that? Comes off nice and easy. Give it a rinse. So you can see now we've got a beautiful shaped carrot without the skins. You can do that. Salt and pepper seasoning on our venison. There we go. I'm just going to put a little bit of butter in there, give it a little bit of flavour. I always like to put it down before the butter melts, lay it on top, especially if it's fish and I've got flour on it. The flour soaks it all up, and then you get that lovely nutty brown flavour. We're going to make some pine nut biscuits really quickly, okay? I've got some isomalt, half a cup of isomalt. Why am I using isomalt? Because sugar makes something too sweet when I want it with savoury. I've got a little bit of golden syrup going in there, 2 tablespoons. I've got 1 tablespoon of butter, 1/4 cup of cream. I'm going to get this up to the boil. I've got some pine nuts and I've got some oats. I'm going to pulse these for a little bit. Flour in. Pulsed. Done. Simple as that. So it's a pine nut biscuit that's going to give the potatoes some texture. Check those fondant potatoes. So look at those. They look really good. And you want the knife to just drop in there and just come out so easy like a, beautiful boiled potato. And you can see it does. And we'll just leave those ready now to serve. You see we've got some good colour. That effect is called the Maillard effect. It's not caramelisation, but everybody terms it as caramelisation. Medium rare, thanks. You can manage that, eh?
Yep.
Awesome. Here we go. Almost looks like a caramel sauce. Then I go with the flour and everything and the bulb, the whole lot in there, and give it a quick mix around, and it turns into a cookie mix basically, or you know, a brandy snap mix. Let that cool down. There you go. Now we've got to cook it. I just want little pieces on here. And we're going to get these into the oven. You can do this while it's hot, or you can wait for it to cool down. Okay, now I want to make a sauce, which is going to be pretty quick and easy. I want some brandy. I want some Lea Perrins. I've got a nice venison jus that we made at the restaurant. Here we go, some brandy in here. Flames up straight away, doesn't it? That's the alcohol cooking out. Some Lea Perrins in there. Once the flames are gone, we know the alcohol is burnt out and we're just left with that lovely brandy flavour, but not that raw alcohol flavour. So now I can start pouring in some of our venison jus.
Check this, son. 10 minutes.
It's going to be good. Just a fraction over medium rare, I think. These are looking real brown. These are our little biscuits. So now you could roll these up, but I just want a nice square shape. Little pine nut biscuit ready to go. So we've got all our ingredients here ready to start our plate up. So the first thing I want to do is take our puree, and I just want to pop that. So we've got a good smear, we can see the Indian seasoning in there. Take our potato. So we just get a little colour on the plate here with these carrots. Here's our pate, looking great. I think like a bean sprout on here will look good. And then I'm going to use the knife to stick our crisp in there. So we made the Lea Perrins caviar last week, so I saved some to use. You know, we just need to finish it off. And I'm a huge fan of the sorrel while it's in season. Last thing we need to do is put our beautiful piece of venison, and if we just have a little bit more of the caviar, because it's a Lea Perrins and brandy sauce, and we know that it'll withstand the heat of the sauce, so that when they go to pour it out, we get all those lovely little caviar balls. There you have it. We have our venison loin with an Indian pumpkin, black garlic pate, and the pine nut crisp brandy and Lea Perrins jus to go with it.